directed the film Vaxxed, From Cover-Up to Catastrophe. What's not?
Sorry,
What's the film about?
What's the film about? I understand it a bit deaf. Well, firstly, thank you very much for taking an interest in the film. The film is unique. It is the first time in the history of the world that we have had an insider from the Centers for Disease Control, the United States' foremost health agency, come forward and say, I am in the vaccine safety division. We were charged with studying vaccine safety. In 2001, we did a study looking at MMR, measles, mumps, rubella vaccine, and autism risk, and we found a very high risk. We found it in two groups, black boys, African American boys, and children who had been developmentally normal for the first 12 months of life. He said, we decided to cover up those data, to commit scientific fraud, to destroy the documents so that there would be no record of this and hide it from the public.
You very often use the word conspire or conspiracy. You think this is a conspiracy, and why they did that? Why they covered up those data?
Well, it's a word actually that I rarely use because it's one that's used by the media, particularly in America, pejoratively. Oh, you're just a conspiracy theorist. No, I'm not. I deal with facts.
You published a paper supporting the claim that basically there was a connection between MMR vaccine and autism. Basically, you claim that MMR vaccine in some circumstances can induce autism. Is that correct?
No, that's not correct. That paper never claimed that MMR caused autism. What that paper did was to describe for the first time an inflammatory bowel disease like morbus Crohn, like Crohn's disease in children with autism. It wasn't Crohn's, but it was a very interesting finding because the parents had said, my child has terrible gastrointestinal problems, I think they have a problem here. And the doctors had said, no, that's just autism. The doctors were wrong. The paper reported what the parents had told us. And it says specifically, this study does not prove an association between MMR and what we describe. More work is needed to clarify that. And what's interesting is the story. The patient's narrative or parent's narrative is exactly the same, whether you live in America or England or Italy. And cases have been won here in the court in Rimini of MMR vaccine causing autism.
Do you think that's a conspiracy against you?
Conspiracy, again, is your word, not mine. I call it ruthless pragmatism.
Immunization rates in Britain has dropped from 92% to 73%. And the effect was an increase in epidemics. You feel kind of guilty of that, or are you happy with that choice?
I'm nothing. It's nothing to do with me. If they take away the choice of single measles vaccine, then measles is going to come back. That was their mistake. They were using a vaccine which was unsafe, and I was trying to draw their attention to it, and they made the wrong choice. They made a bad choice. They made a choice in favour of protecting the schedule and not the children, and that was wrong.
But vaccines can induce autism, while there are, I would say, dozens, if not hundreds, of papers stating that there's no link between vaccines and autism. Like, for example, I have this one. It's one of the very recent studies about vaccine, measles, mumps and rubella vaccination and autism.
We now know they have actively conducted scientific fraud in respect of...
That was done in Denmark.
Right, but it was funded by the CDC. This paper is Dr. Paul Thorsen. Dr. Paul Thorsen is wanted by Interpol and by the FBI for defrauding the American government and the CDC. He is a man on the run. There are people that are begging for his extradition to the United States of America from Denmark to face charges of embezzlement, of wire fraud. That is the kind of person who did this study. Science for sale. And the third thing to say about this paper is it's been reanalyzed by Dr. Sammy Sweezer from McGill University in Canada. Because what this study does not look at is the age of exposure and autism risk. And that's the key factor that the CDC found. Now please let me just say, when he reanalyzed the data, looking at younger age of exposure, he found in this very study a clear relationship between getting the vaccine younger, the MMR vaccine younger, and autism risk. And that is fascinating because now we have 2 studies at least that confirm this link between younger age of MMR and autism risk.
So basically, in your opinion, you'll be able to destroy every single paper, like the dozens or hundreds or thousands of papers saying that there's no link between MMR vaccination and autism. So you're gonna destroy, you can criticize and destroy all of them one by one, like you've done with Mr. Madsen's study.
You seem unconcerned by the fact that one of the principal authors is wanted by Interpol. That doesn't seem to trouble you at all. Do you not have concerns
But this is the
about that?
case of all the other papers? I mean, there
Now,
are
you talk about
hundreds.
thousands of other papers. Please quote them to me. I've never known of these thousands
You
of papers.
should.
Hundreds.
Well,
I don't even know of hundreds. I don't even know of 50. So,
we can
please.
open PubMed.
yeah, please. MMR vaccine and autism. Let's search it now and find out. But there are
You
not.
do it now?
There are not thousands.
Let's do it. Let's try.
Yeah, there's original scientific papers. Not reviews, original scientific
Yeah.
papers like this one.
Let's try. It's okay, a review? Well, we'll start with this
No,
one.
no, reviews are no good. We want original scientific papers. Reviews are just taking this paper and saying, yay, that's no good. So I have to a
Really?
little bit of time. Yeah, that's my job. That's what I did. I wouldn't come here and debate with you or anyone else unless I'd done my homework.
Well, let's start with the reviews. Maybe then we'll find, starting from review, we're going to find the original studies.
Sure.
Seven systematic reviews, 15 reviews, 15 observational studies, one blah blah blah. There are a lot of people saying that basically you're responsible for the increase in epidemics and you're responsible for the deaths of many children. Do you feel kind of guilty?
Where are the deaths? Please, again, where do these deaths come from? Where have these children died from measles infection? You've just quoted many deaths. I mean, is that true? I mean, I've been studying this for 20 years. I've not seen many deaths at all. What I have seen are many deaths in children with autism, from epilepsy, from walking in front of cars, from that falling over and smashing their head open. I've seen multiple deaths from MMR vaccine and they're reported. It's a recognised complication. I've seen brain damage from MMR vaccine. I've seen a lot of that. But no one's come to me and said there have been deaths from measles because you raised concerns about the MMR vaccine safety and advocated all along that we should continue to make the single measles vaccine available.
Another question.
Yeah.
Why you do that? Why you keep promoting movies like vaccine? Why you keep saying that vaccine can induce autism? That's kind of your final battle?
Not my final battle, no. The reason I made Vaxxed is because it's the truth. The reason that the authorities are so frightened of Vaxxed is it brings the truth, because it's one of their own people from the inside coming forward and saying, we committed fraud, we found this effect.